What's up guys, it's your boy Zion and I'm bringing you another Destiny video. In this one we're going to be talking about some of the changes Bungie just rolled out to the Nightstalker subclass with the Hunters, and basically we're going to start off with some of the smaller things and work our way up to the grand finale at the end with the bigger things such as the smokes and passives. First we're going to be talking about the grenades and supers. So basically they tweaked the spike grenade with the Nightstalkers and they made it so that it only has 5 pulses of damage instead of 10 pulses of damage or 10 ticks of damage. However you want to phrase it, they cut how many times it actually hurt things in half. So instead of hurting things 10 times, they hurt things 5 times. Not a big deal when you go ahead and look at. They also changed that the damage per impulse or per tick was increased by 100%. So they doubled the damage but cut the amount of ticks in half. Not a big deal. They basically made it so you have to sit in the grenade longer for it to go ahead and do shit tons of damage to you. It's cool they went ahead, they buffed the damage and did a trade-off like that, because in all, if you're using this PvE-wise and you get a large boss stuck in this spike grenade, you do the same amount of damage as you were before, and it's not really a change. It's just something you have to work around with. It is a bigger change in like PvP, where you are playing against other people who aren't going to sit in your grenade 90% of the time if they have hands and have any kind of common sense in the world. But now that we went ahead and talked about the spike grenade, we can go ahead and talk about Shadow Shot. They basically made the suppression effect from Shadow Shot instant. So the second your Shadow Shot goes off and it hits a target or hits a wall or hits a surface, it suppresses things instantly. So it fixes that issue of you shooting your Shadow Shot and it going ahead and going off, and a fucking soul hammer titan launching his hammer at you, fucking you up, or a gunslinger shooting you. It doesn't happen anymore. It's an instant thing, so the second you get it off and it hits a target, you basically suppress them. There's no more bullshit supers fucking you up with Shadow Shot, which is a awesome change. It's something that people have been asking for since day one when the Nightstalker was introduced and they got to play around with it for a little bit. So those are two of the minor changes, not anything too big. The bigger changes are in the smoke or the melee override. So they basically wanted to make things less frustrating to play against in PvP and more effective in PvE. Basically they increased the impact damage if you hit someone with your smoke by 34%. Cool in PvE, you use it a lot more. It's used to disorient people. In PvP, it's whatever. You're not really going to impact people too often with your smoke. And if you do, they're not going to sit in it to get shit tons of damage off. Not a big deal in PvP, but pretty cool in PvE. It also goes ahead and has an impact suppression and damage over time duration that got cut down by 1 second. Cool. I mean, it's not a big deal when you go ahead and look at they're going ahead and buffing the overall duration of it by 1 second. So the suppression and damage portion of it gets cut down by a second, but the smoke lasts for an extra second. So kind of a weird trade-off, but it's still happening. It's not anything crazy amazing just yet. They went ahead and removed the jump suppression, or like the thing that almost slowed you down when you used the smoke, when you got hit by a smoke. They went ahead and they took that out of initial impacts and the normal smoke. You actually have to use certain perks to go ahead and get that applied. So now to go into the perks that would actually affect this, Envenomed, they went ahead and made it so on top of the 1 second buff the clouds are already getting, they're going to add another second when you use Envenomed, and they're going to add in that jump suppression we just talked about when you use Envenomed. So you have to use the Envenomed perk to get that jump suppression, and it goes ahead and adds a 2 second duration to your grenade or to your smoke overall, because you get the 1 second from the basic buff and the 1 second from Envenomed. Now they went ahead and fixed Vanish and Smoke. If you were looking to run a full agility build, can't happen anymore. They went ahead and took out the 1 point of agility from Vanish and Smoke. Not too big of a deal. Vanish and Smoke is still one of the most popular things Nightstalker hunters actually run. It probably beats out Envenomed in PvE situations, but Envenomed and Snare probably come out more favorable during PvP situations. So, mentioning snare, we're going to actually talk about it, and that it basically increases your cloud duration by a second. That's it. That's all they tweaked with it. So, with snare, they're basically just adding that extra second on top of the basic bitch second they already added. So, you'll get a 2-second buff if you use snare or envenomed. You'll get a 1-second buff with any other perk. Not crazy, but absolutely worthwhile and cool changes overall just to balance the class in itself. Now, they did go ahead and tweak a couple other perks in your tree. You could basically be using Courage of the Pact and be getting recovery armor and agility for killing things that you tethered, and it basically applies to both you and your allies in the fire team. So they basically made this stack, and you go ahead and get 2 points per stack, and they capped out the number of stacks at 3 stacks. So if you kill things quickly while you go ahead and you have them tethered, you get a couple stacks of Courage of the Pact, and you get extra recovery armor, and agility. So pretty cool change, but I don't think it'll impact things too much. I don't think people are using Courage of the Pact that often. That's probably why they tweaked it to make it a more favorable perk and make it more of a desirable perk to have over some of the other ones. Now, they basically tweaked Lockdown in that you go ahead and you get increased smoke duration by 2 seconds, and basically what Lockdown does is it makes your shadow shot and your smokes last a little bit longer. So it goes ahead and adds a 2-second duration, or an additional 2 seconds, plus you can cap that on top of your other 2-second perks such as snare or envenom. So already really cool. You'll have really long smokes if you combine Lockdown with snare. Absolutely cool. It absolutely brings about an entirely new way of looking at the build. If you want to focus on your smokes and traps and shit like that and have things that last forever, maybe look towards Lockdown and snare. Might be a new build worth trying out. However, not crazy good. Then we're going to go ahead and look into Predator, and it reduces the cooldown of Shadow Shot now. Before, it would reduce your grenade and your smokes. So kind of cool. They just added in Shadow Shot, something that was already reducing your cooldown. Not anything too crazy. And then Shadow Step, they basically put it on a 3-second cooldown. It's a single dodge now, as opposed to, I'm guessing it was a multiple, or considered a multiple. However, it's a single dodge and it's on a 3-second cooldown, which kind of sucks, because there's a lot of times where I Shadow Step multiple times to get away from things and can't do it anymore. You only get one. Everybody gets one. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy some of these changes. I'm really excited for them. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, a comment, a favorite, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys later. Peace.